Hello.
Welcome back to Don't Fekk Friday.
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 It's going to be fun. Morning. Yeah, it's Saturday for me, but it's like, yes, it's the weekend once again. Yes. Well, it's like the David. Thanks. Ooh, nice.
No fucking way I'm muted. I can see my thing going through. You guys are full of crap. How
Let's
can there
just
be an
say
echo and be muted at the same time? I'm being lied to. I got
Yeah,
breakfast today. I got look at this.
Oh, nice. Nice. Now I'm
Oh.
hungry. Why would you do that to me, Chesh?
Well,
Torture me. Yes, crap, you're muted. Was. Oh, wait, no, it's muted. What?
I'm
And
just gonna keep
Boy
going.
saying it's
I'm just
echo.
gonna eat. I'm just gonna eat.
Okay. Now we hear you. Shesh is muted and Maanyaa is echoing. Why?
There's an echo from both of us?
Is it okay now?
That makes no sense.
Is this okay now? Talk to me.
No echo, no echo. I don't know. All right, well, whatever. We'll go from here. So today, we got a few things to talk about. The first thing we're going to talk about is, why doesn't anybody talk about Dr. Spiegel?
Because he just fizzled out, I guess, after that full-on performance he gave in the courtroom. After that, he just just fizzled out. I think so. He didn't like when people were measuring him with the same tape measure that he brought for Johnny Depp, and he was like, "Oh my God." I think
Well,
so. He is gone.
Well, he wrote a. I don't mean him being gone. I mean like the people that speak for Amber Heard and support Amber Heard do not talk about Dr. Spiegel.
Well, yeah, I have an answer for that because Dr. Spiegel completely decimated this case for Amber Heard. The minute he first opened his mouth, everybody was like, he just threw the case into the trash bin for Amber Heard. That's what.
He wrote this article afterwards. This was written on June 3rd of this year
yeah.
by Dr. David R. Spiegel. And if anybody thinks the picture I used for the thumbnail for this video is like kind of like not a nice picture to use, it's the picture he used in his article.
So he's the one to blame.
Helios for two says Chesh is doing this from inside my coffee mug. Correct. I live there now. That's my current place of residence is inside Helios's coffee mug. For anybody who doesn't know or get the joke, feel free to become a member or Patreon and join us in the Discord. Or follow us on Twitter.
Join us and join us to troll Chesh.
So yeah, that is it. He quoted Amber Heard about like the backlash thing.
Yeah, the backlash has been horrific.
Yeah, the title of this is I testified in the Heard versus Depp trial. The backlash has been horrific. And it's titled My Turn.
Oh, you didn't get your turn on the witness stand? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you're gonna make this about you? Oh, okay. Okay.
Alright. I would say kudos to Dennis Wayman. I think so that's what his name is, who interrogated Dr. Spiegel.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And he gave the best example in the history of, if your enemy is making a mistake or a number of mistakes, let them make it. He gave the best example of that. He just stood there and he just let Dr. Spiegel rant on, and it was like, be my guest, man. You're doing my job for me.
Oh, hey, Rose, it's good to see you. So,
Oh, Rose! Long time no see, girl.
so there's a here's the thing. Dr. Spiegel wants to make this about him, so let's talk about him, right? So what do we know about Dr. David R. Spiegel? So he was brought in as the expert witness for Amber Heard's side as a doctor of psychology. Now he does not have a degree. Like, his degree is not in domestic violence. His area of expertise is a clinical psychology in individuals, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it's related to specifically relationships.
Oh, okay.
So here's this thing. Dr. Spiegel, chair intern, psychiatry and behavioral sciences. Dr. Spiegel, blah, blah, blah. After almost a decade in private practice, he obtained his medical degree from Sunny Health Science Center at Brooklyn, where he first gained an interest in cognitive therapy for anxiety disorders. Dr. Spiegel then completed his psychiatry residency at Dartmouth Hitchcock and Penn State, Penn State. His areas of interest include behavioral treatments for geriatrics and the interface between cognitive therapy and psychopharmacology for anxiety and mood disorders.
Interesting.
Clinical supervisor for psychiatry residency and psychology interns, and presents to a community of mental health professionals.
So psychopharmacology means that studying the effects of medicine or chemicals on mood.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yep.
So psycho means your emotions and all that stuff, and pharmacology is obviously science of the pharma, which is the chemicals and all that shit. So I think so it says here that he has board certification of general adult psychiatry and specific certification in psychosomatic medicine.
Yep.
But when he was asked in the trial whether he is board certified or not, he said no, if I'm not wrong.
I think there's
we'll see. I think so.
These might be different kinds of boards that I'm just not entirely sure about, because he could be a board member of his location, but not on the board of the the umbrella, right? So you could be on the board for a news organization, but you're not on the FCC, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. You could be on the school board or on the there's a difference between being on the board of education, right?
It was funny how he was brought in, why he was brought in by Amber Heard's team. It was some sort of a tantrum that Amber Heard's side had, because I think so what happened was Amber Heard had to undergo a scrutiny by Dr. Curry, right? So Amber Heard was like, oh, okay. As ordered by the court, because Amber claimed that her whatever years she spent with Johnny, or whatever abuse in quotes I'm saying she went through, allegedly under Johnny, she said she got PTSD from it, and she had trauma from it.
Yeah.
And
she was claiming she had developed psychological issues due to the relationship together, and so the court deemed necessary to have her get a psych evaluation to determine to what degree she may or may not have these issues. And so Dr. Curry was the one that was decided on by Johnny Depp's team, because they got to pick, because you don't get to pick your own psych evaluation in your trial. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
So then they tried to flip it and get a professional to do one on Johnny, because Johnny was not ordered to, because he didn't make his psychological state, he didn't bring his psychological state into question throughout the trial.
Yes.
Or for the trial.
Yeah, he did. she claimed PTSD from the statements made by Mr. Waldman. Ah, okay. Thanks, intrigue. Not even Johnny, Mr. Waldman. What?
She did not do that. Is that what she claimed PTSD from? No.
I don't know. Intrigue is
No.
saying.
No.
And because Johnny Depp did
Can't be.
not specify like whether he had PTSD or what type of trauma he underwent because of Amber's abuse, Amber Heard's team couldn't justify putting him through a similar, you know, what do you mean, examination. So
Right.
and so
So they refused
but I
it.
think so what yeah, so I think so what Johnny did was he did talk about the abuse, but he didn't talk about whether he had any PTSD or any trauma from it.
He also
And
didn't claim that Amber's article did anything to him from a psychological point of view.
exactly, it was a defamation trial. It
Mhm.
wasn't a criminal trial where people were talking about the effects of each other's, you know, actions during their marriage. I think so that's why I'm actually I will believe Intrigue Feline because Amber Heard had to connect her trauma somehow to this defamation trial or the countersuit she was going against with Johnny, right?
Oh
Or else
my
there was
god. Feline just sent me the screenshot of what it said in the court case. And
yes,
also to
good,
show that
good.
she is suffering additional trauma as a result of purportedly defamatory statements alleged in her counterclaim.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So she had to connect her trauma to the defamation trial, the countersuit that she was going against Johnny in some way. So
Right.
she chose Dr. Waldman as cause and his statements causing her trauma. So she could try and bring in Dr. Hughes to talk about it, right? And it backfired in her face because then Johnny Depp's team said, "Okay, we want an independent medical examination done to verify whether to verify what she's saying happened." And it just blew up in her face. And that's why I think so. That's why Amber Heard and her team had a tantrum and they said we're just gonna bring in somebody, just pick someone off the street and just bring in and just
I don't think
he's
it
going
was
to
pick somebody
testify.
off the street. I think it was they had to go to the fringe to find somebody who would agree with them.
For me, it means like pick somebody off the street, I guess.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing you see with like flat earthers, or
Yeah.
like creationists, young Earth creationists going and finding somebody in a field of study that's relevant, but they have to go to like the far fringe of that field of study to find something that will actually back up what they're saying. So
Yeah.
like, not every pilot is gonna tell you that there's something going on with the planes, right? So you have to go to the fringe of people who are or have been pilots and hope that one of them's not just, fucking with you.
Yeah.
I know a pilot
So
who
yeah.
would, by the way. I know a pilot who, if a flat earther came up asking them about it, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, no, yeah, it's definitely flat. All these tools, all these measurement things here, these are all of these fake. They're on an algorithm that just runs."
Oh god. I have to say it was like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed thoroughly the cross-examination of Mr. Spiegel, Dr. Spiegel. It was brilliant. It was amazing. It was a piece of art. Let's just say history was made.
There's a
when he was
reason that
cross-examined.
guy. That's the reason that guy that is like the cross examiner was so high in his firm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. He specializes in cross-examining professional witnesses or expert witnesses, and he showed why he's worth it. And now I know why such firms charge such stupid amount of money per hour because they say we will deliver what you want. And he was fantastic. I loved it. And
On point.
and Dr. Spiegel also did not help his case because I think so what happened was he got so insecure about the fact that he did not follow the the golden rule. What's the golden rule?
Goldman.
What is
the
Goldman rule? Sorry,
I think is what
I
it's
keep
called.
getting it wrong always. Yeah, the Goldman rule. He got so insecure about it that he just he just like started blabbering shit. Like that wasn't even needed. And also at one point it was revealed that he was only going off on hearsay because if you remember when Dennis Wayman showed him the picture of Johnny Depp on the couch with ice cream, right, in his hand, he said, "Oh, this is ice cream," and Spiegel said, "Oh, I was told it was vomit."
Gold
So
water.
I kind
That's what
of
it is. Gold
gold
water
water,
rule.
gold water rule, and yeah, in Dream Feline also caught up a gold water rule. Yep. So I don't blame him a little bit. Like I would say 20% was not his fault. 80% was because of the whole fucking testimony he gave in the trial. It was like, so I don't know. I don't think so. They sat down and prepped with him at all. It sounds like they did no preparation with him.
Yeah,
And
so a briefing on what the gold water rule is. The gold water rule is you don't get to what's the word?
plus,
Diagnose, that's a word. You don't get to diagnose somebody in a trial that you haven't spoken to. You have to
exactly.
directly examine them. If you haven't examined somebody, you do not get to um you don't get to
Diagnose them.
diagnose them. And then I think that's not just in a legal case, but it's generally like it's a board of ethics of psychology
Yeah.
kind of ruling. And listening to Dr. Spiegel argue about how he didn't agree with that is kind of hilarious. Like he's
It's
debating, he's
hilarious.
trying to debate a lawyer about a rule that exists in psychology on the stand during testimony and cross examination. Like, what is happening right now?
And yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think so. Dr. Spiegel wasted a lot of time, and I think so.
Mm-hmm.
That was Dennison Wayman's strategy, that he wanted Doctor to waste Dr. Spiegel's time as much as he could, so that he got only a little bit to talk about Johnny. And the best part I loved was when he asked, "Oh, did you watch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?" And I was just like, "Oh yes, please ask him."
There
And he
was
was like,
something special about it. Almost seems like he knew that Spiegel wasn't on board with the Goldwater rule already. Like maybe Spiegel had talked about it within like the psychology community and doing research on, because that's part of your job, right? As a lawyer, when you're going to cross-examine an expert
he did his
witness,
homework.
is to do your homework on who you're doing. So I'm wondering if Dennis knew that Spiegel didn't like the Goldwater rule and that he was riding that line in what he was presenting to the court, and so jumped on it and then just like let him go and let him look like a quack. Might have been during depositions, yeah.
And I loved it when he was asked, did he watch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? I just loved it. Yeah, so the lawyer's name is Wayne Dennison, not Dennison Wayne. It's the other way around.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry, Wayne.
I just double checked it. I was like, I always get names wrong. Sorry, guys. So,
We
Squawks
did
from
not do
Motophone and
our
says,
homework. Unlike
yeah, he
Wayne.
seemed Squawks from Motophone and says from the live chat, he seemed to have a canned objection against the Goldwater room. I think so. I don't know why we would have to. It would be interesting to sit down and talk to him and find out why he thought that the Goldwater rule should not apply to some people, like Johnny Depp, or, similar people in similar professions, if I might say. It would
Do
be
we
interesting. It would be an interesting conversation.
I don't know if we need to have that conversation with him. I'm pretty sure he explained that on the stand thoroughly.
He said that if that Goldwater rule applied, that then I think so no psychiatrist or psychologist would be able to give testimony in trial,
Expert
which
testimony,
is
yeah.
bullshit.
Doesn't make any
Yeah, which
sense,
is
yeah.
bullshit. Yeah, because Dr. Curry did sit down and examine Amber Heard one on one, and she was able to give testimony on that.
Right.
I would, and Dr. Hughes also, Dr. Curry and Dr. Hughes gave expert testimony.
Yep.
Uh, but it was like one was giving it on hearsay and the other was going through the proper tools. to
You would
gauge
also be
Amber
able to
Heard's.
talk as a professional, like speak as a professional on general behavioral information. So,
Yes.
like, if you say, hey, fight or flight or freeze can kick in X, Y, and Z situations, you could do that because you know what that doesn't include? Diagnosing someone that you haven't talked to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And we'll go through the article and see that
Oh, yeah, right.
what
He
his
wants
thoughts
to
are.
make this all about him. So let's talk about him.
Yeah.
And, like,
Can you blow it up a little bit, Shesh? Can you make it a little more magnified up, please? Sorry, I can't read it. Please, pretty please. I'm being demanding today. Hey,
how's that?
that's perfect. Yes, that's perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
F9 doesn't work on this one. I heard the news that Johnny Depp had won his defamation lawsuit against Amber Heard as the verdict was being read on June 1st. I was very disappointed, first and foremost, for Miss Heard, who should have received much more of an outpouring of support than she did.
What? What does the support has to do with the with Johnny Depp winning the defamation lawsuit?
Why do you
The
assume that
support
I've
didn't.
forgotten the F9 instead of assume that I tried it and it didn't go? But what is this assumption going on here? Come on. Cut me some
Oh
slack.
God.
Jesus Christ.
R.I.P. F9. So, okay, is Dr. Spiegel saying that public support decided who won the defamation lawsuit? Is that what he's trying to imply?
Yeah. I don't think that's
Why?
a. I don't
What?
think that's like an implication. I think that's is.
That's what he is saying.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you could say that up to an extent because it was I think so it was Amber Heard's team who brought in the hashtags from Twitter that were against Amber Heard into the trial. You know, Amber Turd and justice for Johnny Depp.
Mhm.
So if the jury was exposed to what was going on and on how much support Amber Heard was getting or not getting, it's Amber Heard's team's fault because they brought in the hashtags.
Mm.
They were so stupid. They brought in the hashtags. So maybe that's what he's talking about, but I think so that's too far fetched. I'm just stretching it too thin.
It just
But
seems like he's conflating, right? He's just conflating that Amber
yeah.
didn't get a whole lot of
Yeah.
support from the jury and also didn't get a whole lot of support publicly
Yeah.
either. As if public support would have changed the outcome of the jury, which is a lot of what mainstream media news has tried to push.
Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous. So far
As
far
if Amber
mainstream
didn't
media
get
has
6
been
years of
butthurt.
support.
Yeah. Mainstream media has been butthurt since Johnny Depp won his case. They have been so butthurt. Especially NBC News. I'm calling you out, NBC News. You butthurt assholes. Oh god.
I
Okay,
thought you wanted
what's
me to
next?
apply there. You're sitting here calling them butthurt assholes. You think they're gonna hire me?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Hey, come on. Listen, healthy criticism is good, isn't it? They should have the balls to accept that.
You would think. You would listen. You would think that a mainstream news organization would not be so fragile in their ego, but no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
NBC has become a. I shouldn't say it because I'll reserve my judgment till I get the outcome of Shesh's application to that job profile. I'll reserve my judgment about NBC, but it's been disappointing. Their conduct and their reaction to the whole trial has been very, very disappointing. Let's just say
Yeah.
maybe that's why they're looking for a new person in that position that they're looking for, Shesh, because they are like, we are sick and tired of these assholes who are sitting there and just projecting bullshit onto everyone else in the organization. Maybe that's what it is.
I don't
Maybe
know.
that's why. Oh yeah.
Could be NBC, nothing but cunts.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to this Newsweek op-ed. All right. He was disappointed for the outcrying of support that she didn't get. Whatever, don't care. I have been a practicing psychiatrist for around 30 years and have previously provided medical malpractice expert witness testimony. Period. But Before the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard defamation trial, I had never provided witness testimony in any high-profile cases. Okay.
So it's funny that a person who has provided
Can't
testimony
imagine
in
why.
medical malpractice, was opposed to the Goldwater rule for some reason. Interesting.
Hmm.
Very interesting.
Hmm.
It's like it comes down to maybe rules for thee, but for not for me. Is that what it is, Dr. Spiegel? I don't know. It's counterintuitive that if you're going to give testimony for medical malpractice, you would say that if someone's ignoring the Goldwater rule, then you would say no, don't do that. You know, you would be opposed to that. But I don't know. Hey Dave, Dave's in the live chat. Hi, Honest Red. Hello, everybody. So yeah.
I like our happy paper bag comment. I think that
Oh,
Depp and Heard physically and psychologically abused each other, with Depp getting the worst of it and suffering the worst career consequences. Tell me why I'm wrong.
I'll tell you why I'm wrong. I
That's
think
not how that works.
no, it's not. I think so. What happened was that Heard started. You know, that's how abusers do. They test the waters and they keep pushing the boundaries, and that's what
Escalating.
Amber Heard was doing, escalating it. And after a while, Johnny Depp realized that or decided for himself that he's going to stand up to Amber Heard, and that's where he started verbally, you know, where there was this, if you remember, there was this audio where Johnny Depp was calling her a fat ass. I think so that was in response to years of abuse by Amber Heard. He was like, "I'm done with you. You're out of my life. Get lost." That's what it was. And also another thing, people trying to say that Johnny Depp talking to a friend about Amber Heard and saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to humiliate her in front of the world." That's not abuse because it wasn't directed directly. It didn't go to Amber Heard. She was not that thing was not imposed on Amber Heard. It was sent to someone else. And people can use figure of speech when they're angry. People are allowed to express their anger. And if they're doing it to their friend, that's a proper channel to express their anger. So out with that old bullshit.
Sorry, I'm laughing at my speculation as they tried to cast Christopher Lloyd, and
I
Dr.
saw that.
Spiegel was the best they could find.
Oh god, that's awesome.
I don't know. I don't the tell me why I'm wrong is not like is throwing me off on that comment. Only because like okay, why do you think that? Until you tell me why you think that, I can't really tell you why you may or may not be wrong. I would say
Yeah,
like my big question mark isn't even on this, it is on the physical. Show me where there's any evidence of physical abuse on Amber at any point in time besides her
yeah.
just saying so, which is, and
And
a lot of what she just said so was counteracted by her own witnesses and by herself. So,
and also the psychological part of it, right? It
sure.
was we heard Amber Heard on tapes trying to gaslight Johnny Depp,
Oh yeah.
right? And Johnny Depp saying, "Don't tell
We
me
heard
what it
her on
feels like to be
NBC
punched."
after the trial trying to gaslight everybody
Yeah,
who watched it.
yeah. So it's like, dude, yeah, I really have to come and can you present your evidence where you drew that conclusion for? I think so. What people who are supporting Amber Heard are trying to do is they're trying to say, oh, they both were psychologically abusive to each other. It was a toxic relationship, as if to downplay Amber Heard's part in it, or that Amber Heard, because the next step would be to say, oh, Johnny Depp started it and Amber Heard got, you know, drawn into it and she responded in kind. So it's not her fault. No. You don't get to start that stupid argument. Ah, boop, 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 pug. I'm distracted. I'm so distracted. So yeah,
Papa's best boy.
it's like yes, he's the best boy ever.
I
So
just
yeah, it's
I
like
don't know. I just don't buy this end sentence of "tell me why I'm wrong." It's like, I mean, I'd love
yeah,
to, but you need to like tell.
yeah. Tell us your
Why do you
how
think
you
this? So, like, how did you come to this conclusion?
yeah.
All right, back to
That would be the
Spiegel.
question.
I was
Yeah.
asked to be an expert witness on this case in 2019. So I've actually been on the case for about 3 years and have been privy to
Holy
every single detail of what's been happening for that period of time. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they had him on for 3 years and they did not prep with him at all because that's what it looked like. They did not prep with him at all. Or maybe he wasn't available for preparation because just because you were involved in a case for 3 years doesn't mean that you were involved all the time. I get it. But for 3 years, this guy was on your team and you didn't prep him. What the fuck were you thinking? I think so they thought that they had it in the bag because of what happened in the UK trial. I think so they would be that was too easy, they think. It's so unprofessional, and so I don't blame Dr. Spiegel. They should have seen it coming that he will be challenged on the Goldwater rule, and they should have prepped him. Should have given him one-liners or something like that to throw the question out of the way or dodge the question, but they didn't. And they just let him go on and on, like, oh, for fuck's sake, come on, guys. Now there's no excuse from Amber Heard's side. This is ridiculous. You have someone on for 3 years.
To be a fly on the wall, to know what Dr. Spiegel was actually told versus what was actually going on, and the fact that after watching the trial and going through this, he still believes that he was told everything and knew everything that had happened within that 3-year time.
Yeah.
Bro.
So
That's a very
Intrigue
definitive
Feline,
statement.
yeah, and I think so. Intrigue Feline brought up a very interesting point from the live chat. Dr. Hughes was even asked to respond to one such recording regarding instigating violence and it not being reactive violence. She hadn't heard that bit before, or so it appears. So that's what I'm saying. Even for their expert witnesses, Amber Heard's team has been presenting very selective evidence
To their
to them.
experts.
Perfect example was Dr. Spiegel being told that ice cream on Johnny Depp's lap was vomit. I think so. That's where I think so. Jury then and there decided this he's not reliable. He doesn't even have the facts of the case right. I think so. At that point, the jury decided, nah, we're not going to listen to him.
Yeah.
And I think so. At that point, the jury also decided that Amber Heard's team was playing it dirty. They were playing it dirty, and they were because these discrepancies shows that if you're willing to lie to your expert witnesses, what else are you willing to lie about? Right?
Right. I mean, I
So, yeah.
still think like the expert that came on to show the data points of Twitter trends was probably one of the most ridiculous fucking things I've ever seen. Not only was the data analysis pathetic, but it was also measuring something that started after the trial had started.
And I think so. The Amber Heard hashtag was even before before 2016. I think so. It was even before that.
Right.
So, but what they failed to do was, and again, Mr. Wayne highlighted it very much, and he magnified it, that they couldn't tell that the content that were coming of the tweets that were coming with the hashtags Amber Turd or Justice for Johnny Depp were somehow negative towards Amber Heard. They could not specify the content of those tweets. They couldn't make that causation relation. Yeah, they only could say the correlation, but and there was no justification for that also.
Well, they also went out of their way and assumed that anything that was positive for Johnny was inherently negative for Amber, which is not inherently the case. You can be not negative towards Amber and be positive. Like, I could say, hey, Johnny Depp is great, hashtag justice for Johnny Depp. That's not inherently against or negative for Amber Heard. It just means I'm supporting Johnny.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, though, there's also this other problem that we looked at a couple weeks ago, where we looked at the number of tweets that they had presented, and it was in the thousands. Like, not even tens of thousands. It was nothing. It was
nothing,
big, fat, stinking hunk of nothing. And I was just like, you're bitching about your career being destroyed because of 1,000 tweets. There's not even an equivalent number of tweets to the number of followers you have. Like, are you kidding me?
It was. I think so. When they compared the percentage of the total number of tweets that went out for justice for Johnny Depp, or the total number of tweets around this case, Intrigue Feline's right. It was not even 1% number of the tweets. It wasn't even 1%, and you're whining about 1% of the tweets. And you still couldn't justify even the correlation that it was somehow negative towards Amber Heard. And whereas
Mhm.
Johnny Depp's team was able to show with the Q scores that how his Q scores started plummeting after Amber Heard's article, and they
Mhm.
saw and they showed that connection and correlation causation, which was done fantastically by their expert witness. And I think so. That's where you know that how inexperienced Amber Heard is, and how inexperienced her team, whatever her publicist was, because they had fucking no idea how this whole thing worked. Whereas Johnny Depp had reliable people on his side who knew how the industry worked and how even the social media worked.
The
They
pro
knew their shit.
Like I said, I'm convinced that they had to go to the fringe. They like
Yeah,
Amber Heard's
for
team for
everyone.
everything had to go to the fringe. Like I do not think that is the majority of psychologists are going to disagree with the Goldwater rule. I don't think the
Yeah,
majority of psychologists are going to tell you that men can't be abused. Like I don't think
yeah.
that's the majority. I think that's the fringe. And now does that make them right or wrong? No, because it's not an argument about whether or not they're correct in what they're saying. It's just about where they had to go to get people that would agree with or say what they wanted them to say.
I think so. That's why they were not good at their job, because these were fringe people coming in, and it just shows that how unprepared Amber was, or how overconfident she was.
And the thing
I think
is
so
with the
because
relying on the Sun case though, is that they already knew going into this trial, like going into like actually into the trial itself, that the stuff with the Sun was already axed from the case.
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They should have started prepping head on as soon as they realized that the UK trial verdict will not be allowed in the court. They should have doubled their efforts from that point to prep with their witnesses, whoever they were, and to try and reiterate the points they were trying to make. But I think so they just couldn't. They just couldn't do it because, like, for example, the executive they brought from Disney, right?
Oh
To
yeah.
say that, oh, it wasn't because of Amber Heard's article that Johnny Depp lost the movie. They said, I have no fucking clue. That was the basic crux of their whole testimony.
The
Whereas,
difference is in and I think this is actually a point in Amber Heard, the people defending Amber Heard's side. The difference in quality in who was they were able to get, each side was able to get for Disney, was massive. Amber Heard's side was only able to get like basically a secretary, and
through a subpoena,
right, and
through a subpoena,
through subpoena, and Johnny
sorry,
Depp's team was able to get like a producer. And
yeah,
so
who sat there and said there were issues with chemistry between Jason Momoa and Amber Heard, and I was like, oh my
and they had to
god,
fix it in post.
oh god,
But here's the thing, there's like I think that there's an argument there to say that, well, people of the industry were willing to come out for Johnny because of who he was, versus they weren't willing to come out for Amber because of who she was, as a woman versus a man, as somebody who has larger numbers, yada yada yada. Now, I don't think that stands on its face, because I think that's not inherently the case. There are clearly other reasons why, but I do think that is a point that could be made. Like that is an argument
could
at
be
the very
made, but
least.
then you have to, I don't know, you have to justify.
You'd
Like,
have
I
to
can get
start
it because,
removing the other reasons, right? You'd have to start
yeah,
removing reasons like Disney's reputation and wanting to uphold their reputation throughout this trial, or this individual knowing enough about the chemistry of the characters and stuff like that, about how much of
yeah.
that, right?
Intrigue feline from the live chat, argument ad populum fallacy though, Shesh.
I'm not sure if it would be an ad populum fallacy, because it's talking about the quality of the people that were willing to come forward, not the number of people that were willing to come forward.
I think so. It's also the relationships that you forge, isn't it? Johnny
Sure.
Depp had been in this industry longer than Amber Heard was.
Right.
So the longer you are in the industry, you forge those relationships. Listen, from someone who got their first job in New Zealand through relationships,
Mm-hmm.
the professional relationships that I made with people, I know how important professional relationships are. And
Right.
the longer you are in an industry and the more you network, the more people stay in contact with you and and are willing to talk to you or talk about you to others. And I
Right.
think so it's also and I think so it also I think personally I think it's testimony to the fact that Johnny Depp didn't burn bridges where he went. He didn't burn bridges with everyone because of what happened, after the op-ed. He just didn't go like, what the fuck, I'm never gonna work for you again, and yada yada yada. He didn't burn the bridges. He was like, okay, I'm just gonna quietly go away and I'm gonna do my thing.
He kind of burned the bridge with Disney, but he was mad for other reasons.
Also, but he said, yeah, the million alpacas and all that bullshit that was there. But for again, for like Warner Brothers to come back and to let their executive to testify for Johnny Depp, that kind of
Oh,
shows
right. That was a
the
Warner Brothers guy, not a Disney guy. What was I thinking?
yeah, yeah, the depth of relationships that Johnny Depp has forged in the industry, isn't it? It's like, and I guess maybe he has that advantage there, but then Amber
Yeah.
Heard should have seen it coming, just because,
Well,
according to me personally,
she talks about how she saw it coming. She got the backlash. She saw men being supported. She was a Me Too activist, right? So she knew this stuff.
yeah, no, I think so. To try and misrepresent Johnny Depp's ability to utilize his relationships in the trial as something sinister towards Amber Heard because she is a woman, I don't think so. There's that connection. I think
There's
so.
an
It's simply
argument to
Johnny Depp.
say that here's the thing, it's a very complex position to take. And I just don't think a
Yeah,
lot of people are capable of making this kind of argumentation because it's like they just don't have that kind of cognitive ability. And people supporting
hey,
Amber
come on.
Heard are stupid. All right, so
Yeah,
what I'm saying is that it is a very nuanced argument. It is a nuanced argument to say that, hey, listen, she didn't have as much time in the industry to forge those relationships, and because she was a woman, she had more difficulty in forging those relationships in the first place. So it's easier to throw her under the bus for the industry than it is for them to throw Johnny Depp under the bus. That would
but
be like the overarching
yeah,
thing.
but if you see the whole saga, what happened in the
Right.
last 6 years, it's counterintuitive because Johnny
Yes.
Depp was clearly thrown under the bus for Amber Heard
Right.
in the last six
This is what
years.
I call two-dimensional thinking. It like a two-dimensional
Yeah,
argument. It only operates within the bubble if you're talking about the Warner Brothers executive that was willing to come forward versus the Disney exec or Disney person that was willing to come forward. It doesn't work as
yeah,
soon as you start to expand it, right? That's why it's
yeah.
not like it's an argument. It's not a great argument.
No, it's not. Yeah, you have to really come up with a great justification
Yeah,
for that
you
argument.
maybe if you spent more time sort of analyzing and breaking it down a little bit further, if you could follow Amber Heard's career a little bit closer than I ever have, then maybe you might be able to, or if you had more information about who she was working with within the industry, right?
I have
Maybe.
seen some of Amber Heard's, yeah, I've seen some of Amber Heard's, like, I've followed a little bit of what she's done. She's done, she's done good work here and there. Some movies were good, some movies were like meh. But to try and compare Amber Heard to Zendaya or Jason Momoa, no,
Yeah,
no,
that
no,
was a
no, no,
different problem. The
no.
the casting
Yeah, it was. They were
or
trying
her.
to compare that. Yeah, they tried to say that Aquaman was Amber Heard's breakout moment as it was for Jason Momoa. And we were like, no. Do you know how much work Jason Momoa has done in the past? Like,
Right.
he was in Baywatch, he was the Conan the Barbarian, and then he's done
Ga-
other stuff
Game of
also.
Thrones.
Game of Thrones and Dune, and you see that his work speaks. and and all that shit. But Amber Heard's work does not speak. You have to actually
Well, it's
go
because
out there and look for her work.
Aquaman wasn't a breakout moment for Jason Momoa.
For
It was
Jason,
just
no,
his first I'm the main character title of a big blockbuster movie. His breakout was years and years beforehand working on TV.
yeah. So, um, over Nader from the live chat. I don't like this whole trial just became part of the culture war, and these are very rich, privileged, famous people who are not like us, the mere mortals. That's I think so. That's and that's another unfair thing to say. Rich people are ordinary people too. Rich people, and they have the same struggles as us ordinary people do. The mental struggles, the psychological struggles. They can have the same struggles, and like perfect example is Johnny. He has gone through addiction issues.
Addiction
We know
issues,
that.
depression issues,
Yep.
likely
To
some form of PTSD.
Yep. So to say that,
I know that because I watch Pirates of the Caribbean.
I think so. It's an ableist. It's it's an ableist. I don't know if it's an ableist argument to say that just because they're rich, then their problems cannot be similar to us. I don't know. It's not a fair assumption, I would say.
I think I understand where they're coming from. I don't agree with that level of separating them out from humanity. They're people.
Yeah. And that's what Amber
There
Heard
are
tried to
people
do during the trial.
who suffer a lot of the same things, but have an additional thing that they don't have to worry about. So that's the
Or
only they don't have to worry about where they're gonna eat tomorrow, but
yeah,
that says
but it
nothing
can,
about anxiety or abuse or whatever.
yeah, it can actually bring an additional pressure because you are constantly under the spotlight.
Right, it's a different kind of
Yeah,
lifestyle. It is a different kind, but it comes with the same trials and tribulations,
yeah.
just in a different same shit, different pile.
And before we go forward, I would just say that Amber Heard tried to do that. She tried to take Johnny Depp's humanity away from him by saying, "Oh, he's a great actor. He plays all these roles.
He
He's
convinced
this
the world.
persona.
He convinced the world
He
he had
has
scissors for
he has
hands.
yeah." So she tried to remove his humanity away from him, whereas Johnny Depp's team didn't do that even once. So for Amber, they didn't say that she's this beloved character. Like she tried, Amber Heard so much tried to say that, oh, because he's an actor, whatever he does that comes into limelight or comes in front of the people is acting, and in that way they try to just completely devoid him of his humanity, which was a very shitty move according to me.
I think there are people who do that. There are people who have like a persona and play a character, and when they come forward to do interviews and stuff, they play a character, right? And you see that with some like more extreme cases than others, right? Like that happens on YouTube. Somebody will have an avatar and or they won't be on camera like we are right now, or they will be on camera like we are right now, but they play a character. Their videos are a character. So it might just be the way they are, but they cranked it up a little bit, right? Or they might be like somebody different entirely in their real life because they're playing a character. And then you have people that come off as more earnest because they're not playing a character, right? And so like that's there. I'm sure there are actors that do. Marilyn Manson is an example of that. Yep, Marilyn Manson has a character he plays, and a lot of the time, but he doesn't always play it in interviews. Sometimes he does, and sometimes he doesn't, and so it's a matter of just being able to recognize one versus the other. And the question is can Dr. Spiegel, one in the chat, if you think Dr. Spiegel would be able to tell the difference in somebody being a character versus somebody being an earnest person. 2 in the chat God. If you don't. Okay. But when I signed on initially, the impression I had was that it would be a closed trial. There wouldn't be cameras and fans in court. Paparazzi outside the courthouse was never a problem. That's something I can handle. But the situation obviously took a different turn once the trial became a national televised event. That said, I had a job to do, and I did my job. How hard it must have been for poor Dr. Spiegel.
Yeah. Well, I think so there's another thing that he thought it was a closed trial. It would be a closed trial. Maybe he was again. How much information was being shared with him? That's another point, isn't it?
Well, he said
Like,
when he signed on initially, so 3 years ago,
yeah,
he
I
thought
think
it
so.
would be
That's
a
when
close
Amber Heard's
trial.
yeah, that's when Amber Heard's team was trying to pass. Like, I think so. They put in a counter motion to dismiss the motion brought up by the court to have cameras.
Was that in
So maybe
2019?
it started. This whole thing started in 2019, wasn't it? It
Mm,
has been going on since
yeah,
2019.
yeah.
This whole case. It took 2 years, 3 years, almost 3 years for this case to reach to a jury. That's how long it took. Far out.
Yeah, Stephen Colbert, when he was doing the Colbert Report, did a bunch of interviews in character. Absolutely, yes, he did. Notably with, specifically with Bill O'Reilly.
Uh,
Hilarious. Bill O'Reilly.
yeah,
Okay, so like Bill O'Reilly's an asshole and he fucking sucks. But oh my god, did that guy like play a hilarious character? Like Bill O'Reilly
and
on the
yeah,
Riley Report or whatever the hell it was called was when he was on with like Jon Stewart or he was on with Colbert. Holy shit, was their dynamic entertaining? Is your name
that's what happens
Colbert
when
or
two
is it
good people.
Colbert? Are you truly French? Like, what the fuck is this? What's your
Also,
real name?
and also, I'll say, Deaf Noodles, you're never going to be Stephen Colbert. Sorry, you're
What?
never going to be. Deaf
What?
Noodles, he always tries to compare himself to Stephen Colbert. I'm like, you're never going to be that guy. You don't have even an ounce of talent to be that guy. Fuck off.
Oof. Okay. All right. Before the trial, no,
And,
no, no, just fucking touching that with a 30-foot pole. Dear God. We do need to talk about the Alex Jones trial at some point, though.
oh yes. Oh, it will be awesome.
Um,
Glorious.
Before the trial, I had one
One.
50-minute Zoom
Okay.
meeting with Amber Heard, and I had lunch with her between sessions on May 23rd. She was very nice, very cordial, and very polite.
Did he just form his opinion about Amber Heard's character just based on that?
A 50-minute Zoom meeting and lunch?
Yeah. And they were crowing about Dr. Curry having dinner with Johnny Depp's team at Johnny Depp's place. Like,
Okay,
what about
but
your expert witness?
for 3 years,
What
I had been privy to every detail of what had been happening for that period
And
of
he
time.
had one meeting.
One 50-minute Zoom meeting.
How are you privy to everything if you had one 50-minute Zoom meeting with Amber Heard? Can you decide, Dr. Spiegel? I think so. You think you know every detail of the trial, but it became quite evident during the trial when you're being cross-examined that you knew shit all.
I was very comfortable with the subject matter until you got on the stand.
Yeah, you just go to right off the hill.
I watching Johnny and Ben, like watching Dr. Spiegel and just being like,
Oh my god.
and Johnny's just like,
What the fuck is this guy? I
and
think
like
so he was studying
I felt
I think so
that.
he was studying yeah. He was studying Dr. Spiegel for a character in the future, maybe. He was just
Oh
like
my
closely
god,
watching.
no doubt. Like, oh my god, can we get this movie? And then because this movie of Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp comes out like in the future, can we get Johnny Depp playing Dr. Spiegel?
Yes. Yes. It would be awesome, glorious. Oh god, yay.
But I watched that happen and I was like, that's me. I've done that before. I have absolutely done that. Go watch my old conversation with Gary, or go watch a conversation that I'm having with somebody where I'm just like,
What the
what?
fuck?
What is happening? I'm just questioning my reality at that point. Okay. I'm well versed
Oy vey.
on trauma and substance abuse, but you're not a professional in that. Which means
No.
you're not an expert in that. That's not your field of study. But you're
Yeah.
well versed in it. So you've read
He
papers.
say he didn't say that he's qualified
Yep.
in trauma and substance abuse. He said I'm comfortable with the subject matter
And
and well versed with
well-versed.
trauma and that the language he used. I'm like, dude, with the Amber Heard trial, we actually know what shit you're trying to say when you're trying to say something. You don't know shit all. You just read a few articles and journals, and you think you know everything. God.
Tip's face during this Smeagol testimony is what I imagine Chesh's face as when she's reading her own Discord chats. It's probably not wrong.
Would I be qualified, intrigue feline, would I be qualified in a similar manner to call me an expert on law? I think so we can safely say that you are an expert on law, especially what you read about.
By Spiegel's line of
Yeah.
logic.
If
Yes.
Spiegel's the baseline, you are a perfect subject matter expert, and you're even above him like 2 times over. Like, you don't have to worry about someone questioning your expertise.
Freddie said, "Imagine JD doing my dog stepped on a bee."
Oh, I know that he did talk about giving Marilyn Manson, I think so, a pill so he could shut him up.
Yep.
That was like, and he was laughing when
This
he was
is
doing that.
This right here is a perfect example of why reading what someone's not saying is important. He's not calling himself an
Yes.
expert. He's not saying he's like studied or educated in this area. He says he's comfortable and well versed.
Yeah. Dude, you know shit all. You don't know anything. You know nothing, Dr. Spiegel.
Keon, dog bee crying face.
Oh god.
But cross-examination.
We're gonna talk in emojis, huh? Sorry.
Yeah. In a book?
In a book, huh?
But cross-examination is something you're never fully going to be prepared for because you don't know exactly what they're going to do or say. Yeah, but being prepared at all would be good.
Yeah, like, are you telling me that your lawyers were so incompetent that they didn't even they couldn't even they couldn't even guess what questions might come across in the cross-examination? Come on. I think so. That's why I think so. People were talking about Elaine is not an expert in such trials, right? They were talking about, and even
Right.
Rottenborn or whatever that guy's name is.
Rodborn.
They were not. Yeah, they weren't experts in this type of trial. They've done other types of trials where it's just straight up you present evidence and a verdict is passed. It doesn't go in front of the jury. So yeah, I think so. Maybe that's why they couldn't prep him, which is sad.
It wasn't as if I was stunned that I was going to be cross-examined, though I was a little uneasy about being on national television. Okay.
You were stunned that you were going to be cross-examined.
He was
You weren't prepared.
really not comfortable with people questioning him and what he was saying.
Yeah,
which is bizarre.
or his expertise. Yeah,
Right.
questioning his expertise. Actually. Yeah, he got
mad.
was thrown off. I think so. No one had done that before, and he was like, "How dare you, sir!" And he just went off the tangent off the cliff.
And then made himself look like an absolute kook. Like, way to go.
Yeah.
What I couldn't prepare for was the reaction from. Well, you already said you couldn't prepare for this. So what do you mean? Why are you saying it like whatever? What I couldn't prepare for was the reaction from the public.
Oh, okay.
When I left the courthouse, I was told to leave when the witness after me was going because the people in the gallery could not leave at that point. So when I left, they could not follow me to my car. That seems like a lot of assumptions about why you were told to leave in the way you were.
Yeah. Who told you that you were told to leave then because they could not follow you to your car? Or they didn't tell you to leave because you were done with the case and they were like, we don't need you anymore, brother. Just go home. Relax.
This right here is an entirely, I press X to doubt. When I left the courthouse, I was told to leave when the witness after me was going because the people in the gallery could not leave at that point. So do you mean that the way this is worded... Sorry, just let me... The way this is worded either means that he was told to leave at that... while the witness is going because the people in the gallery couldn't leave at that point, as in he was told that because otherwise he would think that he wasn't allowed to leave or wasn't able to leave.
Yeah.
Or, right? So it's like, I was told to leave because the people of the gallery generally can't, they can't leave. So I was told that I could. Or he's saying that, which he then clarifies to say, so when I left, they could not follow me to my car. Why do you think the gallery people were going to follow you to your car?
And the cops were not going to do anything about that. Like, what? Again, I think so. I think personally he was told to leave was because there were some expert witnesses like Dr. Curry and Dr. Hughes who sat in the trial, looking at each other's testimony so they can come back and be cross-examined again. So I think so that's why he was asked to leave, because they were like, nah, dude, we don't want you there. You're not gonna be cross-examined again. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I don't
But
think there was any chance that he was getting called back, so
I,
he was allowed. Now,
I,
was he told to leave or was he told he could leave?
yeah. Or did the judge tell him, or did someone who was managing the whole witness stuff, told him you can go?
Trish says to tar
My
and feather him.
oh God. I know. We have a special one back home. Put a blacken his face, give him a garland of shoes, and put him on a donkey facing backwards and ride him through the village.
Oh.
That's what we have. No, but it's like, I think so. What's going on is that, or maybe what happened was Amber Heard transferring some of her paranoia to Dr. Spiegel, saying, "Oh, you need to get out of here because people are gonna follow you to the car. Get out of here while
The
you
thing
can."
is, the people that were
That's
outside the
possible.
trial, the people who were outside the trial were seeing it live. So whether or
Yeah,
not
they
he
didn't
left
need to
when
do
the
a video.
gallery could leave or not wasn't going to protect him from the
I
people that
think
were
so.
outside.
Okay, I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to come up with a false equivalency that the backlash he got on social media somehow he's trying to convert it or transfer it as a backlash he
To
might
like
have got
physical threat.
physically.
Yeah.
Yeah, physical threat, or when he was in the courthouse, which is a false equivalency, sir. And I'm looking at you and I'm telling you bullshit. Don't try that fucking dirty trick, asshole.
I like this bit. I drove to my hotel, and around an hour later, at about 4 p.m., my wife called me and said, "Listen, I don't want you to look at what's being said." I asked her how horrific it was, and she told me it was pretty bad. I'm not a social media expert, far from it, so I didn't expect the whole horrific post-trial backflow. It was a little stunning to me.
How? Oh, okay. He explains how in the next paragraph, I guess.
The volume of it, from the personal attacks on who I am and what I present like, to what I look like and say, was obviously a little hurtful.
A little hurtful that I wrote a full-fledged article about it. Yeah, right. You're so fragile, sir, that you couldn't take it that someone made fun of your appearance or your looks, and people were actually criticizing you. You were so fragile and butthurt that you wrote a full-fledged article on it. Go touch some grass.
I don't understand why. Like, if you were so bothered by backlash of what had happened, why are you trying to make it about yourself and writing a public article? And, like, you just asking for more? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell people that they shouldn't criticize him for what he said, because he said some really dumb fucking things.
Yeah. He said that because if Johnny Depp is being he was told that Johnny Depp, he had a earpiece in his ear, and that he was being fed lines, and he made an observation about Johnny Depp based on that, and he made a diagnosis based on that he's a narcissist if he's or something like that because he's being fed lines. And when they said, "Oh, what if he was being fed music?" Did they tell you that it was actually music, or did you hear that another person said gave a testimony that it was actually music, not lines? And he said, "Oh, that kind of shows me that he's got a lot of multitasking ability." and and then he was just lost for words. And I'm like, dude, seriously, you are hurtful based on what people were talking about, how you looked or how you gave your testimony. What about what you were doing on the stand? You were talking about someone you never knew and you
This
never
is
had sat down with.
literally the problem. He's sitting here in this article complaining that people judged him based off of his performance that they witnessed in a live trial while he was doing a recorded playing a character diagnosis off of Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
At least they used what was meant to be you,
Yeah.
which is more than what you did
That
for Johnny.
Yeah. You gave Johnny no charity and you just went, oh, I'm going to throw out all the ethics through the window and I'm going to make this guy look as bad as possible just based on what others told me about it or what I saw on television. Like, you can't complain now, dude. You cannot. And it's funny. Read the
Well,
next
you
next
can
lines.
complain, but
I'm
you're gonna
like,
look like a giant hypocrite. I deal with people
yeah.
for a living, so I try to understand where people are coming from. It's what a psychiatrist does. But the comments below the
Really?
YouTube videos of me have been vile, and some people have access to my work email, so I've gotten 4 or 5 charming editorials about myself.
Um. Okay. What type of comments are you talking about? Let's see. Were they making fun of your looks, or were they talking about that you look like someone who was on some sort of medication and could not like handle impulses or couldn't control their impulses when you went on that fucking lip smacking bullshit looking at the judge when he was asked a question?
I'm getting treated the way I treated somebody else. I can't handle the taste of my own medicine.
Oh, honey.
My WebMD page has now been closed to comments, but if you looked at the site beforehand, there were probably 7 or 8 reviews, which weren't good. And all of a sudden
I
on
wonder
Monday,
why.
May 23rd, and Tuesday, May 24th, there were hundreds, so it was pretty obvious what had happened. Yeah, people reviewed you based on your performance that they witnessed without having to deal with you as a psychologist directly. How horrific that would be to do to somebody. Oh my god, that's horrible.
Oh god.
Is that getting through? Is my tone
Yeah.
getting through? Is that gonna You picking up what I'm throwing down?
I'm looking at his WebMD page. I think so. I can't find comments. I think so. That's what ratings. What are his ratings? Oh, 0 ratings. I think so. Yeah, they closed this page off.
The
That's what
next
happened actually.
paragraph starts with I'm an adult.
Are you? Are you? Why the confirmation, dude?
I mean, I say that in a joking, sarcastic way on a regular basis when I'm doing something childish. So why are you saying it?
God.
I'm an adult. I'm an adult. It's not the first time I've been criticized, but never like that.
Oh.
On
You
that
mean
Monday,
the same way you did Johnny Depp? Okay.
on that Monday and Tuesday, I had what I described as an emotional concussion. Okay. I like that. I like that. It wasn't
Emotional
physical.
concussion.
I didn't get hit on the head. It was emotional because the feedback afterwards left me a little on the numb and dazed side. I slept a lot on Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, are you sure you didn't get COVID? That's why you were sleeping a lot. Citation needed. Yeah.
I was originally going to take a vacation to see my son in New York on May 25th and then come back to Virginia on May 31st. Instead, I started the vacation a day early. Whoa, good for you. Fortunately, I have had Fortunately, I have had a lot of support from my family, and even my patients have been emailing me. The good news is that my residents and faculty members all support me. Come back.
So.
Come back, damn it. Come back. Where is it? No.
What happened? What happened, Chesh?
Why?
What
Why?
what happened?
I'm fighting with something. Hold on.
Okay.
What?
Technical difficulties, everybody.
My citation needed button is stuck. All right, we'll just go with one.
This guy is unfucking believable.
That one didn't get stuck. My citation needed got stuck. My faculty members, my residents and faculty members all support me. Do they?
Press X to doubt. Press X to doubt.
Citation needed. They texted me and had, quote, "We're with Dr. Spiegel's t-shirts made for me." That was comforting.
Press X to doubt that too.
I don't believe this. I do not. What?
No.
During my career, I've dealt with people who are not guilty of murder by reason of insanity. And I've dealt with people who are psychotic and have threatened to kill me. And it has never fazed me one iota, but this did. Oh.
Because you got a taste of your own medicine, you asshole. I think so he never got criticized in the past. Like, people can brush off, like, when you get threats and all that, because it's like not an attack on your ability, capability, and your credibility. Show Elmo, right? But when your credentials are being attacked, here we go. Now I can't see Chesh. Okay, that was a big citation needed. Yes, that's what we need. The whole screen fills up. Yes.
Okay.
The thing is that when it's easy to like brush off things like, oh, okay, I'm gonna kill you and shit, because people, it's not an attack on your personal credibility or your expertise, but people really take it personally when some people attack your expertise, and I think so that's what's happening here. People are attacking his credibility, his expertise, his ability to make even diagnosis. They're like, and that's why Dr. Spiegel's like butthurt. He's like, how dare you question my credibility and my expertise? And that's why he's writing this article. And I would love to see where people have threatened to kill him. I would love to see examples of that. I haven't seen proof.
There's something to be said about the ego, right? The self, the view of yourself. This guy clearly has a view of himself as an intellectual. He believes he's the smartest person in the room about whatever the subject matter being discussed is. We saw that in the trial and how offended he got by somebody daring to question what he was talking about. And there's also like in this article we see like there's a degree of arrogance here that's like, oh, I was well versed on the topic. I read a book once. I know what I'm talking about. And it's like, what are you, dude? Can you, like, his view of himself is very much, I'm not emotional with my clients. I'm not emotional with my residents, but they all support me. And it's like, you're already making all this about you. This is such a fucking ego trip. Like, bro, I hope he's gonna write a book. He's totally gonna write a book.
Is he just based on this? Really?
He's totally gonna write a book.
Someone sent me on Twitter a profile of another Dr. David Spiegel. Chesh, if you want to look in, and they said, I think so this is who they wanted, and they got something else.
Yeah, I've heard
that's what happens when you.
I've heard this speculation before that they were actually looking for somebody. They hired the wrong Spiegel by accident. And this one is Dr. David Spiegel is a Wilson professor and associate chair of psychiatry and behavioral scientist, director of this Center of Stress and Health, and medical director for the Center for Integrative Medical at Stanford University School of Medicine. Well, we know how the people at Stanford are. Where he has been a member of the academic faculty since 1975 and was the chair of Stanford University Faculty Senate from 2010 to 2011. Dr. Spiegel has more than 40 years of blah, 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 blah. So here's the thing. I kind of want to know what this guy thinks of Dr. Spiegel's presentation and thoughts about the Goldwater rule.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
You start to realize that it really just takes one person who's not seeing things right. This is what I mean by ego. He thinks that everybody's just not understanding or isn't smart enough to understand what he was saying. Yeah. This is such a fucking ego problem. It's like, oh, one person did the guy who was cross-examining me didn't understand what I was saying, and so the rest of the people out there that saw that just didn't get it. And it's like, no, you looked like an asshole. Everybody else is wrong.
You are an expert witness. You have been brought in as an expert witness. It's your job to make people understand what you're trying to say. And if you fail at that, then you fail at that. Sorry, buddy. It's not the lawyer's fault. It's your fault. And your team's fault that they didn't prep you.
I don't think I was paranoid to the point that I was shutting my blinds, but my eldest daughter is still in my house in Virginia, and as ridiculous as it sounds, I have a pit bull. Why does that sound ridiculous? I mean, it sounds ridiculous that you're framing it this way, but I don't like. What's wrong with pit
Yeah.
bulls?
And what's wrong if your daughter is staying with you? What?
Don't be racist against or speciesist against specific kinds of dogs. Pit bulls can be great family pets. I love if you're the right kind of family for a pit bull, like any
Exactly.
other dog, like any other animal, you need to be the right owner for the right dog. You get things crossing and that shit's not gonna work. I love my dog. She's a great dog, but she's still a pit bull at heart. So you're an asshole.
Yeah. What are you judging your dog, or are you saying if you come to my house, I'm gonna unleash my dog on you? What the fuck are you trying to say here, dude? Are you trying to indirectly threaten people to stop them from coming to your house? What? And why are you telling people that your house is in Virginia, you asshole? Doxing yourself.
This was probably the first time I ever thought in my life, thank God I have a pit bull. I am glad that my pit bull is there with my daughter. Oh, am I glad that my pit bull is there with my daughter? Yes, I am. I don't think my dog would harm anybody, but she should be intimidating. I mean, I guess that's fair. I mean, Puck is intimidating, but he's like a... Where is that dog? Puck, where are you? Useless. I don't even know where he is. But yeah, he seems like he's just playing into this pit bulls are dangerous stereotype. Which, don't get me wrong, pit bulls have attacked people and have attacked children. That's a thing that they've killed people. But so have other dogs. And the statistic, if you look at the statistics are tricky. Because statistics measure specific things and you have to know what questions they're asking.
Yeah, and what was the context?
You want dogs that attack people and are a threat? Pit bulls aren't the ones that the fucking police use, dude.
Yeah, German Shepherds.
Those attacks are not counted in those. I don't. Is it Great Danes? I think it might be Dobermans.
Dobermans?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dobermans maybe. But it's like, dude, pit bulls can't be great cuddle bugs. You have no idea.
Pit bulls have been bred for violence. So have German Shepherds. So have Shibas. So have Huskies. So have
Akitas.
Border Collies. So have any type of guard dog.
Yep.
Newfie dogs.
Okay, Silver Harlow, Maanyaa, the state of Virginia is way, way too big for that to count as a doxing himself. Oh, okay.
I mean, you're saying that, but we've had somebody say what country they're in and claimed it's a dox. I would have liked Mr. Depp to get ahead of this and have said, quote, "Listen, I understand you are upset, but there are ways to express how to be upset." What? This is Johnny Depp's responsibility?
How? Why? Why is it Johnny Depp's responsibility? Why? Okay, so because he hasn't... Okay, that's what he's doing again now. The next line, the fact that he hasn't probably says potential volumes about it. So you are judging Johnny Depp again for not saying something. And you're whining about people coming after you for what you did on the stand. Are you fucking that disingenuous and oblivious?
It's all about him. Like, Johnny Depp should have broken his silence, which he kept throughout the court case. Before that court started, he said a thing, then didn't say anything anywhere for the entirety of the court case, and he's like, well, Johnny Depp should have come out and spoken for for my safety.
Hold on. You know, and totally disintegrated his own case by making the connection with people online by saying that. Are you fucking kidding me? Why would he make that connection with the people online by telling them to shut up? And serve it to Amber Heard's team on the tray that, here, look, he interacts with that audience, so that's where it all came from. Are you fucking that stupid?
Yes. It's not that
He
he's
is.
it's not that he's stupid. It's
He's
that
narrow-minded. He's very
egotistical. All about
egotistical
him.
and tunnel visioned. He's very tunnel visioned. He
The
doesn't see
fact that
everything
he
in context.
hasn't probably says potential what the fuck is this sentence? The fact
Yeah,
that he
that-
hasn't probably says potential
volumes
volumes
about him.
Why would you say probably says
Potential?
potential?
Probably. Are you speculating?
No, this needs to be, you need to use the word probably or potentially. You don't use both
Yeah,
of
like-
these words here.
That's kind of an oxymoron for a sentence, I would say that, or totally disintegrates. Oh, the next line. Read the next line.
Miss Heard hasn't come out and said anything either, but my opinion is that she is the most vulnerable person in this situation.
Oh yeah, because she's paying your bills and your hotel bills, dude.
So
That's why.
again, it's rules for Johnny Depp that don't apply
But
to
not
Amber.
for
Like
to
it's
Amber Heard. Yeah.
special pleading is the thing
Special
that's happening.
pleading, dude. How tunnel visioned can you be, and how ignorant are you?
If
Seriously.
I had groupies and I saw them attacking and harassing someone they don't know, I would have said what I said during the trial, that there are ways to express dissatisfaction and then there are ways not to. Bro, you said you had people supporting you, making you shirts that supported you. How is that not groupies by that same
Yeah, you
terminology?
have your own groupies. And Johnny Depp, the thing is that what he's trying to say is that because Johnny Depp didn't jeopardize his case and speak for me, therefore he's a bad person.
Speak to protect me, like out of his way, just me, not everybody, not like a generalized statement. Like
Yeah. But if Miss Heard didn't say that, I can understand why Miss Heard didn't say it, because she was very vulnerable at that time. Mr. Depp, because he's a man, he can never be vulnerable. And not be a victim. Of course, he's a man because he's a man. Fucking asshole.
I think when Mr. Depp first noticed this behavior from his fans, he should have redirected their emotions. You don't. You're a psychologist. How can you possibly not understand that the one person, unless they're going out of their way to incite something specifically, is not responsible for the group that are following them?
What the F? No, and again, he's wow, seriously, this guy.
This guy is unfucking believable.
Psychiatrist, not psychologist. Whatever, man. I don't even care what he is at this point. He's a fucking idiot. This man is an egotistical asshole. I hope he watches this video. You're dumb. Your argument is dumb. Your thing is dumb. Your presentation on the stand was dumb, and you should feel dumb. I'm glad you feel bad. I'm glad people came out and criticized you and it made you feel bad. You should try and think about why it made you feel bad, because it seems to be because of other people instead of realizing that you're fucking wrong and maybe have everything's about you, then take responsibility, dipshit.
Maybe you're not comfortable with the material you were talking about as comfortable you think you were.
Did Johnny Depp ever come out to say attack anybody? Because Amber Heard sure fucking set that up, and people speaking for Amber Heard sure set that up. So if you want to talk about whether or not somebody should come out and control their fan base, somebody not
Amber
saying
Heard.
something and having prior to this all be positive things to be like, hey, thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. You don't have to blah, 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 blah. Johnny Depp did all this. Johnny Depp did all this before the trial started. That's not what Amber Heard's team was doing. That's not what Amber Heard's team's doing fucking now, that's for sure. They're not saying, oh, don't go attack people. They're going and throwing jury members and the fucking judge under the goddamn bus.
Yep. And Amber Heard's not telling her fan base to not do that. Nope. So does that probably say a potential, like, what was that statement? It says probably speaks potential volumes about him.
Probably says potential volumes.
About her?
I don't
is that
think
what you're
what
going to go
thinking
with?
is. Well,
I don't think he thinks he's comfortable with trauma and all that stuff, subject matter. He's not. No. You're not. You need to really sit back and get educated again, dude. Seriously.
While I still feel this intervention would be welcomed, his fans may be disarmed by the verdict in his favor. Maybe if
What?
Amber Heard and her team ever shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah, and move on like they keep whining about they want to move on. But it's moving on their terms, it seems like.
Mhm. Though, since the verdict, I have received a piece of derogatory mail to my professional address and one rude phone call that was fielded by my staff.
Rude
Okay.
phone call and a derogatory mail. Where is it? Can I see a screenshot? Citation needed.
I
Press
want to
X
know
to
what
doubt.
I want to know what derogatory means. It sounds like he just got a strongly worded letter and he's upset about it.
Or maybe from his own board, who might have said like, "Don't you ever go out and be a expert witness ever again."
Yeah.
And that rude phone call could be like one of his previous, what do you say, a patient. It could
Yeah.
be that someone who was miffed how he handled the whole thing online, and they were like, "Oh shit, I let this person guide my mental health. God dang it, no."
I have been almost totally offline since May 23rd, and I told my wife and kids before the trial to get off their personal websites and social media platforms for at least a week before and
Hold
2
on.
weeks after the trial.
Hold on. If you told this before the trial, if you told your family this, then why are you surprised at the backlash that you received after the trial? If you were expecting it, why are you still surprised? And again, you still have not shown the depth of the backlash you received. One derogatory email or a few like stupidly worded editorials and a rude phone call. That's it.
And his
And you have a
WebMD getting a
pitbull.
bunch
Thanks.
of, and then him getting a big old taste of his own medicine on WebMD.
Yeah. People will talk about you for the end of time because you chose to give an expert witness testimony. People will talk about you and they will probably make fun of you.
We
Welcome
don't
to the
talk
internet.
about Spiegel, no, no, no.
No, 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 no.
But it probably still is a little bit hurtful for them to see
It's
the
a bit
attacks on. Oh, it's probably still a little bit hurtful for them to see the attacks on me and for the patients I had relationships with for years. Because it's all
Also,
about
now you're speaking for
me.
my family, my relationships, my patients. Bugger off.
Yeah, it's not like his reviews that he had were good to begin with. Right? Like I saw some of his ones from before. Like Feline sent one. Let's take a look. Right? Dr. Spiegel killed my stepfather. This is the one that I saw.
Oh shit.
My stepfather was suicidal. He was an alcoholic as well. He had been a patient of Dr. Spiegel for years with medication thrown at him. After rehab, he never showed up or returned our calls. We called stating he was locked in a room suicidal and he never called us back. When he finally did and said he would follow up and never did, my stepdad is dead. Spiegel does bare minimum treatment to push meds and then doesn't care if you die or not.
Oh shit.
This is a review from before the trial.
The trial. Okay. And so maybe that's why he closed the review so that people wouldn't go there, get screenshots like those, and actually confirm that he's a shitty doctor in the first place. Maybe that's why. That's why I'm saying citation needed, that people were leaving false reviews on your on your page, dude. Citation needed. Simple as that. This guy is so butthurt.
No, people definitely left fucking reviews based on that trial, for sure. But they're within their rights to do so because he opened up the door to do that. That's what he did on the stand. And so when you open yourself up to that kind of thing being acceptable, you don't get to get mad when it happens to you.
Maanyaa, there were only 8 prior views. Okay. The thing is that you threw out the Goldwater rule, right? You set the precedent. So now the audience is throwing out the Goldwater rule and they're saying we're just gonna go with whatever you put it. Like, okay, cool.
At least, again, they still had more to go off of than what he presented at trial.
And Intrigue Feline said that was the worst one, though. Yeah, it is worse. It is worse. And
there's potential for professional... Oh, sorry.
Go on.
There is potential for a professional fallback. Yeah. When you perform that poorly at your job, yes. That's what those are called
Yes.
consequences to your actions, sir. I don't think
if
it's
it's
going.
not the consequence of my actions.
Oh no, if anything but the consequences to my actions. I don't think it's going to be that 80% of my patients will stop seeing me, but I do think some will who I don't know well enough question mark. They might. Some of my patients that have suffered from intimate personal partner violence have reached out to me and expressed that Miss Heard's testimony was cathartic. But I've never asked my patients what they think about the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case. So there may be people who, if they think it's that important and they don't know me that well, may drop out. You mean the way you performed on national television, international viewed case, might affect your career?
Oh
Shit,
no,
dude.
Nah.
I also super duper want a fucking citation for this, but you can't
Yeah.
provide one because if you provided one,
I
it would be breaking doctor-patient confidentiality. Even this is
exactly, and
riding that line.
yeah. I anyone. I actually doubt that this happened. I don't think they would have said it was cathartic. It should have been. I don't know. It would have been triggering actually.
I
It
mean,
wouldn't
it
be
depends.
cathartic.
Everybody has different responses to things, especially when you're not in a good headspace.
Yeah.
I'm also applying for the position of permanent chair of the department at my med school.
No, 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 no.
No,
You know,
no,
oh, hold
no,
on.
no.
You know, if you become a permanent chair, you know what you have to do? Interact with people, talk to press sometimes. You're not competent to do that, dude. You're not competent. You need special training in that. Seriously. Um,
Oh
and
no.
if the
Oh
and if
no.
the people
Oh no,
if
no,
the
no,
people
no, no.
oh no, oh no, 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 no. It's this thing. If the people who are doing the selection have actually watched the trial, they're like, oh no, not this guy. No, no, no. We're sorry, Dr. Spiegel. Due to your previous performances on television, we are we cannot process your application further.
Maanyaa, your camera turned off.
I turned it off on purpose. Give me a second.
Oh, some spicy's going on. It's not like I think the comments from the general population would affect anything. I'm not going to lose my job, but will the whole circus around the trial make me look more or less like a serious academic? I don't know. No! The answer is no! You're welcome.
No, like, oh god. Ugh.
My thought
Dude.
has always been that before we choose a hero or a star, it's important to remember that we don't know them. We know their this picture goes so great with this. We know their persona. That's why it's always better to pick a hero that you know, like a family member or a teacher. Then you know them a little more than you know this person you've never spoken to in your life. Okay. Hero mentality can be really problematic. The answer is that
Yes.
humans are humans no matter who they are or what they do for their job. And so if you want to idolize an individual, don't. Don't.
Yeah.
Or at
Nah,
least if
that's
you're
not.
going to, understand that they are humans and they're going to make human errors and have regular human problems because we're all humans. So this is why it's sometimes better if you want to have a hero or an ideologue, something that represents, pick
I need a hero.
pick a character. And pick a character
Yeah.
whose story has an end to it, or pick a part an arc of that character. You don't need to be like, oh man, I love Superman and he's the ideologue for the way I want to live my life, and then read like evil Superman comic books, right?
Yeah.
So like just
That's
pick
what-
one of the stories and be like that right there, that's what I want to idealize. And that's fine
That's
because
why
it's
I
an
have
ideal.
Yeah. That's why I have a little problem with Batman. The
A
character
little
of
one?
Batman. well, there are several issues, but there's no end to that character. It never seems there's an end to that character. He's shown as this, he's a human being, but he's shown like he will live on forever for some reason.
You insufferable Mary Sue. I feel bad for Spider-Man. Poor guy gets stuck in a time loop. He's always got to start back in college or university again and go through the same shit. He never gets to progress.
Yep.
So much so that
No.
Mephisto showed up and make a deal with him to save Aunt May, but take his marriage to MJ away, and it set them back.
Wow.
And it's like, wow. And the best thing was he went to Doctor Strange and talked to an astral projection of dead Aunt May, and Aunt May's like, it's fine, let me die, I'm old.
Yeah, she's like move on for fuck's sake.
I would say that this is not a good way to do this either. Don't put
Yeah.
people on pedestals. You can be a fan of somebody, you can think somebody is great, you can have somebody help you with
it's
their
also
life,
like,
but they're still people.
again, this is him trying to take away Johnny Depp's humanity.
Mhm.
Is he talking about Johnny Depp or is he talking about Amber Heard? Who
Right.
is he talking about? And does it apply to both then? Is he
Mhm.
trying to take both of their humanities away? Like, what are you trying to do, man? Why this thing of this persona thing? This is all what Amber Heard parroted.
I would
Fucking
say to people who have attacked me that just like they don't know Mr. Depp, they don't know me.
Oh my god, this is the biggest joke. Just like you didn't know Mr. Depp. The fucking how ignoramus can someone be? He's so ignorant and oblivious. Oh my god, someone please tell him.
The lion,
someone
the
talk to
witch,
him.
and the audacity of this bitch.
Oh god.
Bruh.
Bruh.
I want to know
Just like-
if he ever watches this, Dr. Spiegel. If you ever watch this, please leave me a comment and let me know if you think that that us going through and critiquing and having a little bit of a laugh at your bullshit is considered an attack or a personal attack. I'm curious, and if you could then like explain how or why you believe that to be the case, because I'm starting to think that people saying you don't know what you're talking about is considered a personal attack.
Yeah. And it's like, but you did the same on the stand, you asshole, and you took money for it. You got paid for it. Like, am I missing something?
This is my career. This is what I do. I'm an emotions guy, so I have no problem with people expressing emotion.
Are you? I don't think so you are, dude.
He already explained that he doesn't feel anything and doesn't have emotions when his patients get upset. And it's like, I think you're just lying to yourself at this point, man. But I have people expressing emotion that is hurtful and harmful, whether it be words or the ton of memes I've seen that people are supposed to look like me when I'm testifying. That is so like.
Oh, someone got introduced to internet.
He doesn't like that he looks like Dr. Chris Brown, or Dr. Emmett Brown. Sorry.
Oh god.
This is like the lowest denominator of offensive content.
Yeah, you're butthurt over memes. Seriously.
I mean, I can understand being upset. Some memes can be more hurtful or more aggressive than others, but being like, hey, look, this guy looks like the bad guy from this thing. Like, the look-alike ones are probably, like, some of the... Like, oh my god, this is reminding me of the Chinese... The Chinese official... The guy who looked like Winnie the Pooh. Somebody said he looked like Winnie the Pooh, and then he flipped out about it and banned it in his country.
Uh-huh. Yes. Yes.
So I have no problem with people expressing emotions, but I have blah 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 blah. I mean,
but I'm butthurt.
This is me opening up the floor. If you guys would like to find a lookalike of me, please send it to me because I will love that shit. I will lap that shit up.
This is how you get a reaction out of me. Here you go.
Yeah, no, I think it's great.
Served it on the plate, and here you take it. Run with
Send
it.
me that shit. Go find pictures of me and say like who wore it better and find like shit like I'm down. I'm into this. I would ask people to remember that there are appropriate ways that you can say you are dissatisfied with my testimony or that you have been or that it may have been short-sighted. I am an expert at this. It's not like I saw one clip of Mr. Depp and then said, "Oh, let me judge this." That's kind of what you said though.
Yeah, that's what you did. That's what you did, and then you didn't even verify whether the information you were being was correct or not. Example, the ice cream picture.
Mhm.
They told you it was vomit, and you just went off on that. You never tried to verify whether it was vomit or ice cream, and you don't even, and for some reason you don't even know what vomit looks like, dude. There's a huge. How can he say that that big chunk of thing that was sitting on Johnny Depp's lap is all vomit? No one can spew that much of vomit without spewing blood and without having, you know, going to a hospital.
I mean, they could maybe it was just he just recently ate a big meal and then just I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I'm just saying, like, and are you telling me, okay, if he vomited, there was nothing around his mouth, you asshole. There was
He's
nothing on his chin, on his neck, or on his collar, nothing.
yeah.
And you didn't even decide. You didn't even ask for the picture.
He's
Did you
still
ask for the
holding
picture?
he's still holding the ice cream cone.
Yeah,
He's
he's still. To
still
this
holding the
day,
ice
he's
cream
still
cone.
like.
To this day,
To this,
Johnny Depp is still holding one ice cream cone in his hand.
yeah.
Now,
And it's like, that's what my problem is with him. He didn't verify the information he was being given. It was so easy to know that picture in that picture that it was not vomit, because when you vomit and you pass out, you have it around your this fucking thing because it dribbles out from your mouth. Asshole.
Illuminati. My favorite look-alike pictures that I've seen, because that has been like a thing forever. People do look-alikes. And my favorite one is, hey, the drummer from Nirvana looks a lot like the lead singer of Foo Fighters. It's like, that's the same person. There are look-alike contests all the time, and
Hey,
sometimes the
Chesh.
people who are those people lose.
Hey, Chesh, you look like that goblin that used to appear on a Non Sequitur show channel. You know, you even talk like her. You know, you have such likeliness. I'll show you her picture one day.
Yeah,
You will.
alright.
She even has short hair like you know, and she was the real life of the party, man. She was the non sequitur show.
Now I wish Amber Heard emotional healing in a scenario where she was perceived by the general population as a villainess.
Oh, nothing for Johnny Depp though. Nothing. No sympathy for Johnny Depp. After he told that he was some sort of a narcissist for passing off in his own vomit. Nah, nothing for Johnny Depp.
The trial was in many ways an excellent experience for me.
Then why are you whining about it?
If it had just been the work that I did that led up to it, the trial and cross-examination, if it had ended in a bubble, I would have said I'd 100% be an expert witness in a high-profile case again. Now I'm 60-40 leaning towards no. Good.
Hold on, this is so much. Hold on, this is so much to unpack. So he said, it was excellent experience for me. Then why are you whining about it? Why
Uh-huh.
are you whining about it? Number two, if it just had been the work I did that led up to it, then why did you choose to testify in the field that you were not comfortable or you did not do work in it? You made that decision. It was no one else's fault and your own fault that you chose to do that. Again, and the trial and the cross examination, if it ended in a bubble, are you telling me that just because you saw cameras in the courtroom, your whole expertise went out the window and you were so shoddy and so, what do you say, shattered by it? You were so, what do you say, dispositioned, or you would say you're unbalanced. You got so unbalanced that you saw cameras and your whole knowledge base went out the window.
Shook.
You were so shook. Is that what you're telling me?
So
How
here's
is that presence of cameras matter to you? Because it would have been the same thing if the cameras were not there. it was after the fact what happened when you after the fact you gave. Are you saying somehow time exists? Time exists. For fuck's sake, time exists. Are you saying that for some reason what happened after the trial and how people reacted after the trial would have affected your testimony in the court? This is so stupid. Time
Bye,
exists for
Maanyaa.
fucking sake.
She's gone. Goodbye.
This is so ridiculous. Like, you chose to give testimony in the field you did not do work in. For fuck's sake. Chesh, come back. Come back. I'm so sorry.
No, it was great.
Maanyaa was perpetrating a sonic assault on us. Oh god. I'm so sorry, guys. This guy, my brain just went brrrr.
This guy is unfucking believable.
Maanyaa just
Maanyaa
read that
brain-
paragraph and just went,
Oh god. Oh.
you
Red
started unpacking that, and then we're just throwing clothes everywhere because you realized there was no bottom.
Oh god.
It's like you got one thing, and that one thing opened up the door to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. But every time you opened a door, you went faster.
What the fuck?
This is why people think the Bee movie is funny. Every time they say Bee, the movie doubles in speed.
Maanyaa.exe stopped working.
So here's my thing in this paragraph that gets me. It's that he's so arrogant and so egotistical and thinks it's so much about him that he thinks he's going to get hired as a witness, as an expert witness again.
Ever again. I just like I would have said I would be 100% be an expert witness in a high profile case again. If it time exists, buddy. Time exists. And you're telling me for some reason the reaction you got afterwards would have affected your trial prior to that. What world do you live in, you asshole? Those cases are
Never
going to
in
become-
my life have I been the target of such voluminous amounts of hate ever. I will process the emotion, but it will always be there. The knowledge that I was on the receiving end of such venom.
Oh god.
My
Venom, aka your
actions
own
have
medicine.
consequences. Oh my god.
Oh no, he said I will process the emotion by writing a full-fledged article and having a fucking tantrum on a news article. Yeah, that's how I'm going to process my emotion. But I'm going to write an article that's going to attack Johnny Depp and going to attack his fan base, all the while telling people who are doing the same on internet to not do it. You want Johnny Depp's fan not to pass judgments on you, and you're doing the same by writing a news article on
He
them.
didn't say
fuck?
don't do it. He said don't do it to him.
Oh, okay. Just
You
him.
don't get to
just him.
judge
Those-
what he said and how he behaved in public in a high-profile case that went all over
My
the
bad.
world. He's only
My
allowed
bad,
to
my
judge Johnny Depp on things he heard from the person who abused him
And also below, as
in the
told to Jenny
50-minute phone call that
Howard,
they had.
as told to Jenny Howard. So they didn't even they just sent him a. Is it like they sent him a bunch of questions and he answered them and then they just bunched it together and made it an article? And maybe that's why it's not coherent, because it's so it's like, what do you say? It's countering itself at so many places, isn't it?
I don't
So it's
know.
because it says as told to Jenny Howard, and I'm just like,
It just sounds
okay.
like somebody did the dictation for him. Like he said it and
Oh.
they typed it up, right?
Yeah, maybe. Okay. That's
I
possible,
I
too,
don't know though, because it still does
Yeah.
at the top say by Spiegel and it's written by in first person. So, but like, this is absurd. So, speaking of absurd shit, we got sent stuff during this because we always get sent stuff during this. So we'll take a quick look. Because we are how far? We're almost at the 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can let me see if I can pull this up. I'll pull the thread. Can I just open the video? No, I can't. Okay. Give me 1 second. It's gonna take me a minute to pull this up. So, you want to tell us about the women's march?
Oh yeah. Okay, give me a sec. I'll bring. So for some reasons, Women's March has decided to attack Johnny Depp and write a whole new thread on it. And I'm not saying go and harass them or anything like that, but it's big coming from an organization that's supposed to be working for victims, and for some reason, they are attacking. So what they did was they were going with guilt by association, and they grouped Andrew Tate, Johnny Depp, and Marilyn Manson together for some reason, and they generalized the whole thing. They started telling about Andrew Tate and what he has been accused and charged with. How can you make that association when Johnny Depp has not been charged with anything? He's not been even accused of anything. There's no case against him. And this is what I'm saying, that these organizations like Women's March, ACLU, NBC News, they have a big vested interest in Amber Heard for some reason, because I think they know their credibility is online now. They have brought harm to the causes they have been supporting this whole time. And Intrigue Feline's right. Marilyn Manson hasn't been charged or convicted either.
Mm-hmm.
To group these two people with Andrew Tate is dishonest, Women's March, and I expected better of you. This is coming from a woman. And if people want to boycott Women's March, that's fine. I'm all for it, because I don't think this organization deserves any of our support anymore. This is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And you are full of sexism for not believing Johnny Depp. You talk about misogyny and sexism. Sexism is not just associated with misogyny, associated with misandry as well. And to not believe that Johnny Depp was a victim of Amber Heard, you're doing a disservice to all the male victims out there.
Don't be surprised if you see us talking about Andrew Tate at some point on this show. By the way, we'll get there. I assure you.
They have made some really, for some reason, they're obfuscating the fact that what Johnny Depp or Marilyn Manson's fans do is what Johnny Depp and Marilyn Manson want. People are responsible for their own actions. And they have made these accusations, for example, that Marilyn Manson's and Johnny Depp's fans have attacked or harassed even Rachel Woods. I would have loved to see the proof for it. Citation.
And
nothing.
Here's the thing. As toxic as it is, you don't get to police people's thoughts. Andrew Tate is allowed to think or have whatever stupid fucking opinion Andrew Tate has. And we're allowed to laugh at him because he's a fucking nutter.
but he has been accused of rape, and he is charged with sexual harassment. That's what my point is. To group him with Johnny Depp and Marilyn Manson is absolute bullshit.
And at the same time, accusations aren't enough to condemn somebody off of. Anybody can accuse anybody of anything. So chill the fuck out. You can have problems with him and attack his ideas in ways that are going to be far more effective than using this broad-ass brush and undermining your own point.
Yeah. It's like, the thing is like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're doing a disservice to the cause they claim they're
Yes.
supporting.
Yeah.
And they are, for some reason, they are hell-bent on supporting Amber Heard.
They're against
some reason.
Well, their whole thing is like Amber Heard should be allowed to have free speech, but Andrew Tate shouldn't.
Yeah. Nor Johnny Depp, nor Marilyn Manson, for some reason.
Right, that's not how it works. Either everybody gets free speech or nobody gets free speech. You don't get to be like, oh, we get free speech because we agree with us. That's very dangerous.
Yeah. And your sexism is showing, your misandry is showing when you said that when society sees abused women as conniving bitches rather than victims and survivors. What about men?
Well, here we go.
What about men?
Andrew Tate is just a symptom of the problem. The fact that men, like Andrew Tate, are allowed to freely spread misogynistic, anti-women views is nothing new. Sexism is as old as time and as common as dirt. Sexism and misogyny are the reason so much of the internet believes Johnny Depp, not his victim Amber Heard, despite all the evidence of his abuse. Such as nothing.
Such as nothing burger.
You want to talk about defamation?
Yeah, Johnny Depp. Here's another one. You can extract another $10 million here. Here you go. Here you go.
They're the reasons Depp's and his buddy Marilyn Manson's fans turned to harass Evan Rachel Wood as soon as the Depp trial ended, even though Wood's abuse at Manson's hands is well documented too. No, it's not. That's the problem. When society sees abused women as conniving bitches rather than victims and survivors, that's rape culture and misogyny at work. Okay, but that's not what we're seeing in these cases. What we're seeing in these cases is individuals who happen to be women are lying, conniving bitches. Not all women victims. And here's the thing. Stop unnecessarily gendering an experience.
Yep.
Being abused is not exclusive to women.
Exactly. It's absolutely ridiculous. I just tagged Brown Redneck Alan.
There's Colonel Kurtz. Watch Colonel Kurtz's videos. It is very likely that there was, in fact, literal conniving, collusion between people to bring Marilyn Manson down off of bullshit accusations, up to and including forging an FBI document.
Oh my goodness. And there's an account called Laura Bokov. Their name is The Real Laura B on Twitter, and their tag is Laura Bokov, and they have been following the Johnny Depp case for a long time. I think so, even from the start when the accusations came out, and they have replied to the Women's March. And they said 7 jurors saw and heard all the evidence in a 6-week trial. They unanimously found Amber Heard had lied with malice. Heard's lawyer told the jury they need find only one incident. The jury could not find even one incident of abuse. Amber Heard lied because she knew she could, and she was enabled because of the organizations like ACLU and Women's March.
That's exactly right. It's the enablement of abusers by groups that are protecting them based on their gender.
Yep.
Fucked up. Up.
But I think so. This is the great balancing act that's happening now in our society. When the pendulum swings from one extreme to the other, it's now coming back to the equilibrium.
And that's where
this is the equilibrium we are coming back to.
Proudman had said, misandry is another form of Darvo. Feminists are accused of man-hating, which shifts the attention to men who are seen as victims.
This thing, oh my goodness. Oh god.
And then our patriarchal culture is reinforced. One big cycle. FYI, I have never met a feminist who hates men. We hate male violence, but not men.
Misandry is another form of Darvo? Seriously?
We've looked at Dr. Proudman before and looked at her fucking man-hating shit. We've seen things like female dating strategy. We've seen things like the femcells. There are women who claim to be feminists who hate men. Their whole shtick is that they hate men. And they're allowed to have opinions, I guess, but these are groups that also go out of their way to say that men can't be victims. Look right here in this thing where she's like, oh no, feminists are accused of man-hating, which shifts the attention to men who are seen as victims, implying that if there wasn't a shift in that, men can't be victims.
Yeah. What is wrong with you, Dr. Charlotte Proudman? Seriously. What the fuck?
Culminating misogyny is another form of Darvo. Supporters are accused of women hating, which shifts the attention from Heard as a singular person to suddenly all women being victims, and then our human culture is eroded. FYI, I have never been against women, just a liar. Exactly. Amber Heard is not the every victim. Amber Heard's not a victim at all.
She's not.
She's a victim of her own fucking malice.
Yeah, that's
hubris.
What she is.
She's a victim of her own hubris. That's the word.
Exactly. Nice.
All right, so we've also got this right here, which Mandy, myself, and Mandy sent us.
Okay.
So they sent a tweet, and I just want to be clear what the tweet says real quick, because I've just got the video pulled up because it's easier. Look at this big dope. According to his butt sense, I'm a bot because I'm passionate and want to speak out on the topic and how Amber Heard violated the DV survivor community, domestic violence. I find this incredibly disingenuous. So let's take a look at this video real quick and see what's up.
My company focuses on disinformation online, targeted attacks, and so we're kind of like online investigators for celebrities and high-profile figures.
Oh, there we go.
Early 2020, we were contacted to look at activity on Twitter, and we were able to determine close to 6,000 fake or inauthentic accounts that were targeting Miss Heard, Amber Heard. Definitely to smear.
Oh, 6,000. So many.
Out of how many accounts on Twitter? I think so millions of accounts on Twitter. Seriously?
Campaign. Definitely the coordinated influence campaign, Miss Heard, Amber Heard. Definitely the smear campaign. Definitely the coordinated
citation or it didn't happen.
Campaign. Really didn't have to be a pro to see it. If you just looked at the tweets and see that, hey, this.
In fact, it's better if you're not a pro and look at it, because then we might be able to bullshit you.
Yep.
Count within 10 minutes tweeted 30 times or so that Amber Heard is a abuser, Amber Heard is a gold digger, Amber Heard is a slut, and that's all this account is doing. And then you amplify that with dozens of other accounts doing the same exact thing.
Where is it?
And
show, don't tell.
That it wasn't just some disgruntled fans, banding together to attack Miss Heard. It was a targeted operation.
Oh, please.
And it was one of the most sophisticated online targeted attacks we had seen.
Clearly this man is not aware of what the internet does. I don't know if you've been here.
That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. These fucking a-holes on people like NBC News who claim that they have expertise in culture and internet or social media. They have no fucking idea how social media works and how social media can come back and rally behind a common cause all on its own. You know, when multiple pendulums, swing, on its own, they come to a synchronization. That's what happened here.
Well, here's the thing.
That's what happened here.
I don't know if you're new to the internet, and I'm going to show you around real quick. There's this place called 4chan, where this thing called QAnon happened.
Yep.
There's also this whole thing that happened that was Capture the Flag with Shia LaBeouf, which has got to be one of my favorites, and in which Shia LaBeouf put up a white flag to represent, like, peace and purity or whatever the hell he was trying to do, and the internet found the flag and stole it. Then he put up another flag and he put it somewhere else that was like a little bit harder to get to. And the internet found the flag and replaced it. Then
it became a movement.
It became a whole thing. At one point, he had it where you could only, the camera that was pointed at the flag, you could only see the stars. Like it was pointed upwards. So you could see the flag and you could see the sky.
Someone actually...
The internet got together and triangulated where the flag was based on the movement of the sky. Oh, it gets better. At one point, he took this flag and he put it in a room, an empty room with no windows, nothing, and they still found the damn thing.
Found it.
And got in and took it.
And took it again. So I think Bot Sentinel is very new to internet. They have no fucking clue of. They are just tracking some of the hashtags that people think are negative towards Amber Heard, and they're just filling the blanks in. They're fucking no way to correlate.
This is a joke. There is a
fucking bunch of jokers.
I wanna stop on his face. You, sir, are a joke. On the other hand, there was another thing where there was a boat that was launching, and it was going to be like one of the biggest exploratory boats that has been launched in a really long time. And the science community that was launching this boat, or sorry, I shouldn't say the science community, the group that was launching the boat asked the internet to name the boat. Big mistake.
Yes, I remember that one.
One of the highest voted ones was Hitler. And the one that won was Bodie McBoatface.
Oh yes, I remember that. Oh my goodness.
The cowards, in fact, did not name the boat Bodie McBoatface and named it after a scientist, which is fine, okay, I guess. But they did name a side boat that goes with it, Bodie McBoatface. Now, there's one other one. I think it was Pitbull, the performer, who teamed up with like Taco Bell or something. I can't remember who it was. They teamed up and then said, whichever location gets the most votes will get a performance at that location. And they put that on the internet. The internet then found the most remote location they could find and sent that motherfucker almost to the North Pole. And I guarantee you, all of these situations had more than 6,000 Twitter accounts.
And was more organic than your fucking stupid website. More organic. Mr. Christopher Boozy, you are a joke. Please, go away. The internet doesn't need you. Go away. We don't need you. We don't need people like you. Nor the tools like you. Fuck off. Fuck off.
Actually,
do something more productive.
There has been... What about the hashtag #MeToo? How about you analyze that? How many of those are bots?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. And how many of those are like people using the hashtag #MeToo to attack victims or to attack women?
And how many of them were bots? You're not going to know the answer because that was a huge hashtag. Not with that was methodology.
A huge hashtag. And you won't know the fucking the keywords to search for. You wouldn't know.
I spend way too much time on Twitter, to be honest. I tweet. It's not unusual for me to tweet 30 times in like an hour. Like that's not unusual.
You do? I think so. I spend more time with you. I think so.
I don't know. Maybe I tweet a lot.
Okay. Maybe I'm not following you well enough then. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and True Feline makes a really good point. In terms of numbers, remember 3 years ago when a certain show blew up and how many people roughly unsubscribed in protest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mr. Christopher Boozy, fuck off.
There's also that's all I have to say to you. Side note, there's also been more than one article that has come out now at this point that is talking about how Amber had actually hired bots. So surprise. So I haven't read through that whole article yet. I haven't finished reading it, at least.
This is an attempt to deflect from that fact. I'm quite sure that Amber Heard and her PR team uses bots.
Oh yeah.
This is what it is.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not going to be surprised if this organization actually helped them get that done.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not going to be surprised if it came out. Am I defaming you, Mr. Christopher? Asshole.
You have anything else you wanted to add to this?
No, I would just say I'm just disappointed in Women's March. I'm just so disappointed. I did not expect this from them. And that's what I'm saying, that for some reason, I don't know what hold Amber Heard has on these organizations. Maybe it's something from those parties she conducted where underage girls were fucking being handed out as candy to people. So maybe, or they have realized that they're too deep into this to back out, or else their own credibility will be destroyed forever, ever. So it's already destroyed. The moment you made that Twitter thread, you were done. People like, we are done with you. You don't deserve our, empathy or any support.
I would like to
Absolutely ridiculous.
point out, if the Women's March wants a victim of domestic abuse as a spokesperson, call Rihanna.
Rihanna, yep. Where were you when Rihanna was attacked? When she went through all that shit? Where were you then? Why not talk about that? Oh no, she's
You
not.
want to talk about men in power who have their voice and victims getting shut down? Call Rihanna. Chris Brown still has a huge career and following despite that.
Yep.
Go do something fucking useful with your time, you bunch of fucking assholes. All right, let's get out of here. Fuck.
Alrighty.
Do we know what we're gonna talk about next time? I don't know what we're gonna talk about next time. We do got to talk about Alex Jones at some point.
Yes.
At some point.
Yes, that's very.
There's also been allegations that have come out against Dan Price, he's the CEO that pays all that money to actually pays his employees. And I'm kind of interested to see where that goes, because I looked at the New York Times article, but the New York Times article didn't actually link any of the court documentation that they cited. So there wasn't a whole lot of citation in the article. It was just people coming forward to say a thing. So I'm curious to see where it goes, what happens with actual investigation. Like I said, accusations and you describing a situation. That situation might be horrible that you've described, but that's not enough to condemn somebody. So I will withhold judgment, as I always do, and condemn when the information is made available to me. So we're in a don't know what did happen, don't know what hasn't happened, know that he has claimed that that's not the case, know that there are multiple people claiming something is the case. So we're going to have to look to see. And everybody keep in mind that whatever good or correct he may or may not be about corporate America is separate from how he conducts himself in his personal life.
Yep.
All right.
Alrighty.
Let's get on out of here. Thanks everybody for coming. Like, share, subscribe, follow us on Twitter. Go find the Patreon. Go find memberships. Support what we do here. It's a good time.
Do the social media thingy.
Please send my poor brain some alcohol. It doesn't deserve this.
Yeah, nobody's brain deserves this. Except maybe Amber Heard's. Maybe.
Yo, she did so much of this shit to herself. I can't. Oh my god, the consequences of my actions. Dr. Spiegel, oh my god, the consequences of my actions. How could this be? No!
Why me?
Make sure you like and share and all that shit. Let's get the fuck out of here. Bye!
Alrighty. Bye! Adios. Hello.
Welcome back to Don't Fekk Friday.
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 It's going to be fun.